Hello, everybody. Welcome or welcome back. Today I want to talk about TikTok, and specifically how YouTube kind of convinced me to delete the TikTok app off of my phone. There's layers of reasons why, and we're going to dive into all of them. It's going to be a little bit more off the cuff. I don't really have a script. I'm just kind of talking. So grab a snack and let's hang out. Okay, so why did I delete TikTok? I have been a user of TikTok for many, many years, and I've posted on there both just to share things with friends, but also in an attempt to kind of kick off a career as a content creator. Earlier in the year, I deleted TikTok mostly just to have a cleanse. I felt like I was itching to open TikTok anytime there was a lull of any kind. Anytime I was left alone with my thoughts for literally a single second, I would find myself opening TikTok. And I think we all have kind of had that experience at one point. And so for me, I decided to take a little bit of a break. And it was always meant to be temporary. I think it ended up being 2 months. But I deleted TikTok in an attempt to just take a break and make myself less addicted to it. And I had thought then maybe it would be better for me if I just didn't have TikTok on my phone. But the problem is that I'm a content creator now, right? I make videos for YouTube, and TikTok is the best way to kind of keep your finger on the pulse of what's happening in the world. Also, it helps keep you informed in a way that traditional news media doesn't always. You obviously have to be really careful about misinformation, and there is a lot of misinformation on TikTok, so please be careful. But it has kind of become what Twitter used to be, which is a little bit of the boots on the ground, something is happening in a certain area, and that's how you're getting news from people who actually live there, talking about whatever's going on. I think especially about Palestine and how what you're seeing in the traditional news media is so different from what you're seeing on TikTok. And Palestinian creators have been able to post what is actually happening on the ground in Palestine and fight against the misinformation that gets printed in traditional news media in a way that I don't think they ever have been able to before, and kind of get more of the word out about what's actually happening in Palestine. Speaking of which, I have put a link in the description to Operation Olive Branch. Their goal is to be kind of a central location where people can find links to a bunch of different Palestinian charities to help be a good source of information of where to donate money if that's something that you desire to do. Obviously, I understand that not everybody has the funds to donate, but I highly recommend that you do if you do have the funds. And remember, the most powerful thing that you can do is call your senator and tell them how unhappy you are with the US's support of Israel. That is a significant impact, and it's free. Always remember to call your senator. But there's an example of something that I found out about on TikTok, Operation Olive Branch specifically. And so if I wanted to link to Palestinian charities, if I didn't have TikTok, I might not know where to link people, And so there is this benefit of information both as to what is pop culturally relevant, what's hip with the kids, if you will, but also just kind of what's happening in the world. And so I felt like as a content creator, I kind of had to have TikTok in a way. And so I was a little bit nervous to not have it on my phone for a few months, but I really felt like I needed that cleanse. And the first kind of nail in the coffin, I guess, as to why I stepped away from TikTok was I didn't really feel less informed, and I didn't really feel like I knew less of what was going on. It turns out that a lot of people post on YouTube as well, both about the drama that's happening on TikTok. I subscribe to Marky, and he basically exclusively talks about TikTok drama, and so that keeps me in the loop. Shout out to him. But also there are ways to keep up to date as to what's happening in the world, and I was kind of forced to find it on YouTube because I wasn't getting it on TikTok anymore. And I was able to find that stuff. And so I found in that time that I didn't feel like I was more out of the loop. I mean, I was on memes, certainly, and a few of my friends were kind of annoyed that I didn't have TikTok, and they'd be like, well, now I have to break down this meme for you so you can understand why this TikTok is funny and you're so out of the loop now. And so there were those moments where I felt that FOMO, but I knew it was temporary. So even when I was kind of feeling that FOMO, it was like, well, I know I'm going to re-download it. I just want to wait until I feel like I'm not itching to get on the app anymore, because that was kind of the point of the cleanse, is to make me less addicted to it. But the other weird thing that happened in that time off that I didn't associate with deleting TikTok until I re-downloaded it is that I was actually reading significantly more. And that isn't something that I would have originally put together, because I will say that even when I felt like I was addicted to TikTok, I didn't really have a penchant, if you will, for just sitting there and scrolling for hours on end. I was pretty addicted to pulling it out and scrolling for 10-15 minutes, but I was mostly able to avoid sitting there for hours. That would happen to me every once in a while. So it's not like deleting TikTok freed up a bunch of my time. So that's why at first I didn't put it together. I just thought it's because the book channel was doing well, and I was reading a bunch of good books in a row, and I was just kind of hammering out books and reading a ton. But then I re-downloaded TikTok and I went back into kind of the place I felt like I was at before with reading, where like I had books I wanted to read, but it was kind of hard to motivate myself to pick them up. And if I had thought to myself, oh, I want to read with this evening, I would be like, oh, do I really want to do that? The whole night, I want to read the whole night. Whereas like a few months ago, I would be like, oh yes, I have a free evening. Like I can spend the whole night reading this book I really want to read. And so when I re-downloaded the app and felt the way I did before about reading, it kind of made me realize that maybe it's not that I have less free time when I have TikTok on my phone, but maybe it actually is affecting my attention span. And so something that is a little bit slower, that takes a little bit more of your attention, like reading, was something that my brain was like, ugh, do we really want to do that? So I had TikTok re-downloaded on my phone for about 2 or 3 months, and I noticed this trend where after I'd had TikTok on my phone for a few weeks, I didn't really want to read that much anymore. But you might be thinking, Meredith, you still haven't gotten to the point. Like, what do you mean about YouTube convincing you to delete TikTok? And the first thing I kind of said about realizing that I could get a lot of that information on YouTube, even if it's a little bit slower, even if it takes a little bit longer for the videos to get posted, I do feel like I'm in the loop of what's happening in the news from YouTubers as well. But the other big thing that I think changed is that I'm a creator now in a way that I wasn't before. And because of that, I'm interacting with my own comments section a lot. I was never really someone who interacted with comments that often before, to be honest. I've never been a major commenter. Like, I can probably count on one hand the amount of comments I've left on anybody's social media post of someone I didn't know, I should say specifically. Like, obviously I comment on my friends' stuff on Instagram and stuff like that, but I can probably count on one hand the amount of times that I've commented on like a YouTube video of someone I don't know. In fact, I don't even think I can think of a single time that I've commented on a YouTube video of someone I don't know. Like, I comment on Marissa and Nathan's YouTube videos because I know them and I'm like, yay, go friends. And like, even still now, even as a creator, I don't really comment on other people's videos. Maybe I should do that more. But I am interacting with my comment section more. And as a result, I've found myself gravitating towards like reading TikTok comments more. And the reason I say all of that is because if I just said, I feel like every time I open TikTok, I get really angry because I see a bunch of really negative stuff, all of the comments would be like, well, you make your algorithm, so make your algorithm more positive then. And first of all, I have tried to make my algorithm more positive. I have put a concerted effort over the past few weeks into trying to interact with the funny videos and not interact with the negative videos. But I don't know if it's just because I love the Niche Tea Lady and I always watch the Niche Tea videos. Maybe that's why, but I just still felt like every third video was someone complaining about something, was something to do with some drama I didn't care about really all that much. But not only that, it's not just that the videos were negative, but then I'd open the comments and like literally I could be watching the most like wholesome, funny like video of a pet or something, just like a dog doing something cute. And I would open the comments to see other people being like, oh, look at the cute dog. So I could feel like bonded to other human beings. And the top comment would be like, you shouldn't let them play with that because they're gonna. And I was like, oh my God. And it would always be like the first one. And I just feel like short form content benefits a lot from rage bait and drama and like all of that. It's just this quick, like instant release, like watching other people live out these dramas. I feel like it's the same part of our brains that enjoy watching reality TV. And then it just feels like everything on the app is so negative. And like I said, I've made an active effort to try to only interact with like cute animal videos and funny videos and the Niche Tea Lady. And it's like, is it the Niche Tea Lady alone that is still getting me all of these other like negative videos and people complaining about things and all of that? It was especially pissing me off because I would see all these videos of people like complaining about their loved ones in their day-to-day life. And I'm like, you're gonna put your own family member on blast on TikTok? And I just feel like the short-term content like benefits from that so much, and that is the content that goes viral, and that's the content that people watch, is the rage bait stuff and the negative stuff. And then the comments that always end up at the top are the negative ones because people end up arguing underneath them. And so interacting with the comments more has made me realize that, but it's also true about the videos themselves. So it's not just like getting out of the comments that would do that, but there's two other things as well. And all of this ties back to YouTube, because also as a creator, you see a bunch of people talking about how like, oh, people are mean online. If you post yourself online, you're going to get hate comments. Eventually you're going to get hate comments. It happens to all of us. But another thing is that since I've started posting on YouTube, I've actually been surprised by how positive a lot of the comments are. And don't get me wrong, I've gotten negative comments, but I have found, especially on YouTube, that the majority of the negative comments that I get are really related to what I posted the video about. And that doesn't necessarily bother me. Generally, just seeing someone say, I disagree with you on this point, I don't view that as negative at all, because I talk a lot about like books and pop culture. So if someone's like, I disagree, I didn't like this about the book, that's not criticism of me. We're just debating, that's fine. Sometimes people will be like, I don't like the way you formatted this video, or you need to work on this or whatever. And that doesn't really bother me either. I mean, it is negative, don't get me wrong, but you can learn from those comments too. And the only comments that really bother me are comments that I feel like people leave in bad faith. And the reason I say this is because it takes my videos getting a lot of views for me to feel like I'm starting to get the comments people are leaving in bad faith. And when I say a bad faith comment, I mean a comment that's sole intention was to hurt my feelings. They weren't trying to deliver some kind of constructive criticism on my video. Like, it wasn't constructive criticism about the video. A lot of times it is pointed to my skills as a content creator, but you can really easily tell when someone's like, hey, I think the video would be better if you did it this way. And when someone's like, meh, 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 meh. And the meh, 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 meh comments to me are in bad faith, because it's like, I don't think your intention is to make me better as a creator. I think you got pissed off because you felt like I wasted your time. And so you wanted to leave a comment that was going to hurt my feelings because you were mad that you clicked on the video and you ended up not liking it. And there's a big difference between those things for me. And you can tell that in the comments. And then you get the people that are just insulting. I'm sure there's more of them, but I have seen literally one single comment that I would consider was exclusively insulting and nothing else. And I just hid that user from the channel. And it's not what I was expecting. I was expecting a lot more. I was expecting like every video to get hate like that. And it's because that is true on TikTok. And you see where I'm going with this? Whenever I post on TikTok especially, my video might have 10 views and no comments. And someone will leave a comment, calling me stupid or like whatever it might be. Like, people are just mean on TikTok. People are genuinely just mean. I feel like it's skewing our perspective of how people actually interact with each other online, because I just feel like that doesn't happen on YouTube. Like, the video has to get a certain amount of views before you start to get comments like that. And I'm sure as I'll get bigger, I'll get more and more of them, but it's gonna bother me less and less because there's so many comments, it's hard to even see all of them, especially on the bigger videos. Like, I don't read every single comment. It's rare to even find a negative comment under a video that only has like 10 comments. You know what I mean? But TikTok's just not like that. The people on TikTok don't care. They don't care in fact, they probably prefer it if they know you're gonna see the comment and they know there's very few comments. Again, it feels like their goal is to hurt your feelings. And I genuinely think there are people that just open that app and scroll, and like every video, they're trying to find something negative that they can leave under that video. And so I think it's the experience of posting on YouTube that made me realize that TikTok is not the norm. TikTok is not the norm for how people even interact with each other online. Like, we knew that people don't interact online the way they do in real life, but I think I didn't realize that people don't interact everywhere online the way they do on TikTok. Like, TikTok is a uniquely negative app, and that's where I'm saying I think the short form content benefits a lot from rage baiting, not just in the videos actually going viral, but the comments themselves. So the negative comments always kind of float to the top, if that makes sense, and you see them a lot more, and then people just leave negative comments on random videos, even if that person only has like 3 views on the video. And that just doesn't seem to happen on YouTube. I don't know if it's just because people aren't seeing the video who wouldn't like the content because it's so small, it's only really getting recommended to people that would really, really like it, or if it's just that people have a little bit more decorum, and if there's only like 2 comments, they don't want to leave a comment being super negative, like they feel a pressure not to do that. I'm not sure which it is, but that just doesn't seem to happen on the long form content like YouTube. But the last thing, and I think we can all kind of agree that this is true about TikTok is basically a giant ad now. Like, every 3 videos is an advertisement. I feel like the creators on TikTok don't feel the same pressure that a lot of YouTube creators do to make sure the things that they're selling are actually quality products. And I will admit to you that what actually prompted me to delete the app, like the final nail in the coffin, the straw that broke the camel's back, if you will, there's this e-reader that came out. I don't know when exactly it came out, and I refuse to do research on it, but there was this e-reader that came out recently that's a color e-reader that lets you like highlight in color and you can write directly on it. But it's not a Kindle, it's not an Amazon product, and so it doesn't connect well to Kindle, but it connects really well to Libby, which I use a lot. And so I was looking into it, to be fair. Like, I'm not saying that the TikTok algorithm was wrong for this, but you'll see where I'm going with this. I was watching a lot of the videos where people were talking about it because I was curious about it, because I take notes in books for videos. And one of the things that I've kind of at least lamented in my personal life, I don't know if I've ever talked about it on here, but it's that I feel like if I want to read a book for the channel, I have to buy a physical copy of it, because usually I take notes in books for the channel. It is kind of nice. It feels like a bit of an archive. And so there is like a fun bit to that. But every once in a while, there's a book that I'm going to read for the channel that I know I'm not going to like that much, and I'm not going to want to have it on my shelf, but I still feel like I should own the physical copy of it, because what if I want to take a note and then I don't have, like, I have the Kindle Paperwhite, so it's not that easy to take notes on there. You theoretically can. And I was just like, well, maybe an e-reader I could write in would help me with that, you know? And then I didn't have to buy every single book I did for the channel, and it would only be like the big videos I do that I would feel like I wanted to own the book. And so I was interacting with the e-reader videos a lot, and I ended up deciding not to get it because it doesn't integrate with Kindle that well, and I don't think you can get your Kindle Unlimited books on there at all, and I read a lot on Kindle Unlimited. No comment on the product itself. I don't know if it's a good product or not. That is specifically why I chose not to purchase it, but I cannot speak to whether or not it's a good product. So if it's something you're interested in, there's definitely people on YouTube and on TikTok who have done reviews on it, so definitely check them out. I'm just saying that's why I didn't purchase it. But because I was interacting with those videos a lot, I started to get recommended a lot of e-reader related videos, which at first was fine because it was just different e-readers. And then I started getting recommended all these different e-readers. And then I started getting recommended all the supplementary products for e-readers. And I was like, holy crap. And I got 2 videos in a row that set me off, because one of them was someone talking about e-readers that weren't Kindles. To be fair, the newer Kindles are expensive, right? They tend to run in like the $300 to $400 range. And this creator was talking about these e-readers that are significantly cheaper. They were more in like the $170 to $250 kind of range. And this girl looks straight down the lens and says the words, "It's only $200. It's practically free." And I was like, but I think we have different definitions of what free means. And so that just like was a little thing that bothered me, because it's like she's just trying to sell you on it, you know, because she had a link in her TikTok shop. Like, she benefited from selling some of this stuff. Or I think maybe she had an Amazon storefront. I forget, but she was like linking to the products, clearly affiliate links, clearly would make money if you bought it. And that on its own, I was like, that's annoying, whatever. And I scrolled to the next video, and it's somebody talking about like your e-reader starter pack. Whatever e-reader you buy, here's your starter pack. And the first thing they said was like a case to protect it. Makes sense. Cool. The second thing they said was like, what's it called? Pop socket to make it easier to hold. Also understand. Also makes sense. Then they said that like clicker thing that turns the pages. Do I think that's a necessity for a starter pack? No, but I can see why you would say that, right? If it's really a big part of your Kindle experience that you can just kind of set it up and sit away from it and click the pages, totally get it. Not that expensive a product, whatever. And then they recommended what's it called? I'm like hitting my microphone. It was like an arm thing that you would like mount to your bed, and it was like a bendable arm that you could like put the Kindle in so that you could like lay in your bed and read it, and it would like float above your head, and it was on this like stand that you mounted to your bed. And they were like, e-reader starter pack, and I was like, I don't think you need that. I actually don't like it. Would that be nice to have? Maybe. But what a stretch to say that a starter pack to start to use an item is to have a bendable arm that you mount to your bed. That's crazy. And honestly, if you can tell, because I'm on this rant right now, it pissed me off enough that I actually sat down and filmed a YouTube video that I ended up scrapping because I was like, why am I making this? That was basically me being like, all you need to use an e-reader is the e-reader. Like, do not let these people sell you on all of this other random crap. If you want it, then fine. But consumerism gets all of us. So like, ask yourself, do I really want that thing? Or have I just been told over and over again that I need to have it in order to use this thing, and it's getting into my head? And I ended up scrapping it because I just was like, why am I making this? No one's gonna care about this. But I was sitting there and I was like, wow. Whenever I open TikTok, I either get mad because everybody's being so negative about some random thing, or I see some person that's making a TikTok outing their personal family business, and it just makes me angry because it's like, why are you doing that to people you know in real life? That's kind of crazy. Or I see some really negative comment on something super wholesome, and I'm like, why are people so angry all the time? Or I'm seeing an ad. And I just kind of realized I really don't need TikTok to keep up to date on what's happening. The only thing that TikTok is keeping me up to date on is the TikTok drama. And again, I have Marky for that. But everything else happening in the world, I can find out about both in the traditional news media and on YouTube. For situations where the traditional news media isn't always the best, there are also YouTube videos about things. And people are just nicer on YouTube, and the videos generally tend to be nicer. And it's way easier to avoid the negative ones if you're in a mood where you want to just watch positive things, because you can see what the video is about and you're deliberately clicking on it to watch it as opposed to the scroll. So it's not being offered to you, you're like choosing it. And so you can choose based off of your mood that day. So if I want to watch a video about TikTok drama, I can click on that, but if I don't, then I can avoid that. Basically, I just realized that any benefit I could get from TikTok, I'm getting from YouTube. So why do I need TikTok? The ads on YouTube are less intrusive, and then ads in YouTube videos tend to be non-intrusive to the video, right? It'll be like a 30-second to minute slot that you can skip, let's be honest. And then it'll be like a 30-minute video that has like a minute long ad in it. And like honestly, even if you end up watching it because you're cooking or something and your hands are busy, it's really not the end of the world, and it takes like 2 seconds. Not that there isn't clickbait, not that there isn't rage bait, but it's easier to avoid. So just to be super clear at the end, this doesn't mean that I think they should ban TikTok. I am kind of afraid of the fact that Congress passed that, because it is, I think, a little bit of a violation of free speech. But personally, I probably will not be using TikTok again anytime soon. Maybe in a few months I'll be like, oh, it'll be fine, let me give it another chance, but we shall see. Maybe, maybe not. No guarantee. If you watched all the way through, I appreciate you so much. What do you guys think of my new setup? I have to hang up more art, but I really wanted to film this video and I didn't have that much time today. So I decided to do this first, but I will have more art probably in the next video that I make in this spot. And the nice thing about this area is that I can have the setup kind of permanently set up now, whereas before it was, whenever I set up to film, it was kind of blocking how I get in and out of my desk that I actually work at, because I work from home. When I went back to work the next day, I would have to move it, and it just always kind of felt like clutter, because it was always just like sitting around, but it was never in like a distinct space. But I never put it fully away, and so now it's like I have a distinct setup that is just like the setup where I film, and so that'll be really nice. And I think I'm gonna film standing more. I don't know, I guess we'll see, but I feel like it gives me more energy. I feel like I'm more animated when I'm standing. When I'm sitting, I'm a little bit calmer, you know? Anyway, I appreciate you guys, and I will see you in the next one.